Hey guys, Rich from Richmond Gaming. Hope everyone is doing fantastically well. Happy Tuesday, a day later than we wanted, but we do have another Star Wars Shatterpoint article. And we now know what the panel to play, which is what they're called in MCP, is going to be. It's the databank download. I don't know. We're going to break down
really
these.
Wanted to force alliteration.
They did. And you can hear him in the background. But we're going to break this down with Mr. Quinn Duggan. Quinn, how the hell are you doing, sir?
I'm doing all right. We've got a cool bald lady to talk about.
I've got a hat on because I was in the
actually,
bath.
in honour of Ventress,
I've got fluffy hair. I've got fluffy hair.
I was hoping you keep on, and I could go in honour of Ventress. You've actually shaved your head, and that's why you've got the hat on.
No, Quinn. Whilst they don't directly answer anything in this article, it answers a lot of questions as well, doesn't it? As well as breaking down the card.
They answer a handful of things.
They directly answer what is on her card, but they
directly answer, whether certain things require force cost in addition to whatever it is. Well,
that's fair enough. That's fair enough. So let's take a quick look then. So, I mean, first of all, I want to say, because this is the sort of nicest picture we've had, I think, of Ventress. And I really like the paint job that they've done on her skirt here. Almost like...
Yeah, the skirt, the mottled effect is really nice.
Yeah, right? Almost like a metallic colour change type thing. I've got some of these Vallejo shifting paints, and I'm wondering if, they can do a similar... sort of shimmery type thing with it.
So it looks like what they've done is they've sort of done inverted colours in terms of they've actually made the shadows lighter than the highlights.
It looks like
it's
gone
for that sort of teal greeny colour.
Yeah. I do like it. It's
because I like to nitpick things. I think you know the things that come down the side of her mouth, the tattoos.
Yes, yeah, the tattoos.
They might have gone a tad thick on those, but no.
Maybe. We've also got to remember it's not movie style, is it? It's very much a Clone Wars-ish-esque type thing they've gone for.
You say movie style, she was never in a movie, so...
She was never in a movie, was she? No, never live action. But anyway, model, really, really happy with. Love the pose. Think it's really good.
Cool.
Before we jump into it, Quinn, I am even more convinced now that we will get a secondary unit, Asajj Ventress, alongside Ahsoka Tano. I just think it's written in this...
Ahsoka, to specify.
Padawan Ahsoka, yes, yeah. Let's scroll down. We're not going to go through all of the little blurb here. Let's get to the meat and potatoes of this. So, first of all, Quinn, she is 8 SP. So, quick reminder of everyone at home. Yeah, quick reminder of everyone at home. That is 8 squad points. Now, what a squad points is... So, Asajj doesn't actually cost anything to bring. It is when you pick a primary unit, the SP is the number of points they bring with them that you can then spend on other units to make up your secondary and then your support. So in this case, Asajj is going to be the 8. We already know that Ahsoka is the 8. So as we expected, Quinn, they're the mirror match.
As I wanted. More and I would be a 7.
Yeah, I would be very, very surprised if Maul wasn't the 7.
Which means Darth Saxon is a 3 because he's a bit of a pleb.
Because he's rubbish, yeah. She also brings... We'll go on, sorry.
Before the Force, the other important bit is we know that the B1 battle droids are 3 points cost.
Which means
Kalani is 5.
5. He's going to do some work.
I have some theories on that, but that might be for another video.
Also, just to clarify, we don't know it's going to be Kalani. We think it is, but it's a super tactical droid, right?
It's definitely Kalani.
There's one other one, isn't there, as well?
It's Kraken, and that comes with Grievous.
Yeah, I do think that it's probably that. So, Force of the Will. Quick reminder of what this is, guys. This is
Will.
Will of the Force, even. Force of the Wills.
It's like an alien army comes out. We are the Force of Will.
I just imagine that's how how Schick and Pagani turn up at Adepticon. They've got all the minions and we are the Force of the Wills.
And walk into Imperial March.
Yeah. Oh, if they're not doing that, that is what they should be doing.
It's a missed opportunity.
It very much is. It very much is. So, Will of the Force, quick recap for what this is for everyone, because I appreciate the sort of, information is here, there, and everywhere. This is the pool of resource that your squads have, strike teams have even, and basically it refreshes every time that you refresh your deck of cards, and it's a pool that at least every primary character contributes to. I think we may see some secondary contributing as well, potentially further down the line.
Like, I do wonder who that would be, given Ahsoka as a Padawan doesn't give any, so it's clearly not just restricted to Force users.
Well, they did say, didn't they, that this is, whilst it's called Will of the Force, it is not just Force users. It's about the living Force that's around everyone. But if you look at her sort of when the card's been sort of rotated 90 degrees, because this is the same card, by the way. I am convinced, 100%, this is the same card. It's just front and back. You can see there next to Dothamirian Dexterity, next to Force Push, there is a little Will of the Force symbol. Basically, that's what you use to be able to do these abilities, basically. So she comes with 3 of it. She brings 3 to the pool. So Asajj Ventress, she's a primary unit. She's a single model. That's what that single character means. And she has got the pseudonym or alias of Sith Assassin, which I'm very happy about. I like that. It's a good, it says what she is, as we'll see from her card as well. She's a pretty damn good assassin. So let's go around some of the peripheral bits first, Quinn. So she's going to bring 9, I think they're calling it stamina, aren't they? And she comes with 3 wounds. Is that right? Is that the right terminology?
I think it's health and
Is it
stamina.
health? Is it health
So
and stamina?
I think the ECG symbol is stamina, and if you have wounds equal to your stamina, that is when you die, which is, we're just going to call it wounds, let's be honest.
We're just going to call it, basically, yeah. So the 9
this is
how
where,
much...
the whole... Three's Mandalorians.
The 9 is how much damage she can take before being wounded. The 3 is the number of times she can be wounded, so going to 0 health before she is removed from the table. Remembering, you always get that 1 clap back. You always get your 1 clap back.
I like that. I like the little
Yeah. We're going to leave the bottom bits to the very end because Quinn's very excited about that. So she has got, Quinn, 2 active abilities, and we're going to have a little chat about them in a moment. 2 reactive abilities, and then her, is it character trait?
Identity,
that's the one, isn't it? Which is the special symbol that will be, I believe, exclusively for primary units.
Yeah.
But again, I think they're not pigeonholing themselves into anything.
The rules are made to be broken, right?
Yeah. So let's start with the first one then, Quinn. Dothamirian Dexterity. Each character in this unit, her, basically, may jump. So that's going to be using the short or the shorter movement tool. This unit may use its ability 2 times during its activation instead of the normal 1. Now,
interesting.
Even though we haven't seen this written anywhere, this very much implies that at least all active abilities are limited to once per turn. Or once per activation, sorry, not once per turn, because it does state activation there. Yeah. So I think it's going to be in the rules. It wasn't, Quinn, because I did go over and look. I'm just going to flip over to this a second, which is...
I had a look at this.
The one there. So it didn't say it in the actual breakdown of the different types of abilities. But I think there's going to be some verbiage in there that states that. And that's going to cost 1 Force of the Will. So Will of the Force. I'm going to get... Do you know what? We're changing the name. It's Force of the Will.
This is very much like dog eggs and...
Yeah, it's Force of the Will. The way these work, though, Quinn, don't they, is I believe, do they add 1 or they double in cost? They cost 1 more, don't they? For each wound
cost
you have taken.
1 additional for each wound you've taken.
Yeah.
Which is important distinction, because everything has a force cost. Even if there's no symbol there, that just means 0. Not nil, because those are different things and could be
very, very much so. Yeah. So Riposte and Slip Away, for example, whilst they don't cost anything when she's on, when she's taken no wounds. Once you take her down, and she's had 9 damage taken put on her, and she goes from 3 down to 2. Death, Mori, and Dexterity then cost 2, Force Push costs 3, but Riposte and Slip Away will cost 1 each, so important distinction there.
One quick thing I want to talk about in terms of the naming convention. Dathomirian.
Yep.
Does that feel like the right word for you?
In terms of the actual word they're using, as in what she is?
Yeah, as in just people from Dathomir, because I wouldn't have gone with Dathomirian.
Dathomirian, I would have said.
No, it is Dathomir. Like, the planet is called Dathomir, not Dathomir.
Yeah, but it doesn't always work in that way, does it?
More the route of, rather than Dathomirian, I would have gone with Dathomiri. Would have been what I would have assumed was the term for people from Dathomir. But no.
I mean, if there's one thing that we know is that it will be official, because everything has a name in Star Wars. Like, it's what's the guy? I can never remember the guy's name. There's basically a keeper, isn't there, of lore for Lucasfilm. I can't remember his name.
Jocasta Nu is her name.
No, not that one. The real person.
But yeah, I mean, look, the real person.
The thing that this tells me, Quinn, is she is going to be very, very mobile, and be able to get around that board very, very quickly. Her next active power, or active ability, then is Force Push. This one's going to cost 2, and again, this is where we start to see some deviation from the standard set in MCP versus what they're doing here. And again, Quinn, I'm all for this. So choose a character in this unit and then enemy character within range 3 of that character. They keep saying choose a character in this unit, and I get, because that's the wording.
Yeah.
She is the only character in this unit. But I actually think this could cause more confusion, Quinn.
I'm in favour of the standardised wording, even though it can be a bit clunky and like...
Don't get me wrong, I agree. I also like, right, Quinn, that this is Force Push. This is not Asajj's Push of the Force, or whatever it is like that. Because what it means is that other characters that have a Force Push will call it Force Push. I like it. I'm a fan of it.
I'd prefer if it was Force of the Will's Push.
Force of the Will's Push, yeah. And you're going to be able to push a character away range 3. So the big difference there is...
We believe that's the range icon, don't we?
Oh, 100%, that's the range icon. 100%.
So also, within 3, push them 3 away. Like,
within 3?
That's a lot of distance.
Well, so just to clarify for everyone at home as well, this game, I'm trying to see if I've got an example here. Let me just grab my...
like the range tools in
Shatterpoint
seem to correspond to the actual range tools in MCP, right?
Yeah, exactly this. So, I got a range tool. This is a range 5, but this is by the by. Whereas in a lot of games, you measure from within the confines of this, in MCP, and I will put money on the fact that this will be the same as well, is you go from front to back. And it may not seem big, but when you get those extra 35 millimeters either side for a base, or even bigger if it's a bigger base, it can be big. So this is a big old push. This is going to cause somebody to probably have to make an action just to get back within range to potentially do a ranged attack.
Either that, or if they're a jumpy character like Anakin, maybe your force would spend force. Force.
And I imagine that there's going to be something, some characters may have some ability that stops them being force pushed or something like that, right? They can bounce that back. But, to reflect that...
I want Grievous to have that. He has the rope.
Oh, yeah, 100%. But to reflect that, it costs 2, right? So to push your character away... And we talk a lot about this in MCP, don't we? And being able to move yourself is good. Being able to move your opponent is better, typically, as a general rule of thumb. So they're her 2 active abilities. Seem pretty standard so far. We've then got Riposte, which is going to be a reactive ability. So after that little lightsaber symbol there is going to be melee. So after a melee attack, targeting a character in this unit is resolved. So that's the timing on it. This unit may use this ability. If the attack roll contained 1 or more, that Shatterpoint symbol is failure results. The attacking unit suffers 2 damage, basically. call it whatever you want to call it, but 2 damage. She goes from having 9 to having 7 left, right? If it's another
the equivalent
Asajj.
of Anakin's deflect, but it's melee only, whereas
It's melee
Anakin's
only.
is ranged only.
Yeah.
Which I think is a very interesting distinction, sort of shows off that flavour of, Ventress is an assassin.
Really like this. Yeah, really like this. But she's an assassin, but susceptible to those ranged attacks. Whereas the likes of, Anakin, and I imagine Obi-Wan as well, and a couple of others, probably Ventress. Probably Ahsoka, even not Ventress, sorry. And not as much. So, yeah, I like that. We've then got Slip Away.
Yeah.
Now, this, again, starts getting very, very interesting. So, when another allied, Dathomirian... Now, to clarify, I believe they are going to make Maul, because Maul is from Dathomir, isn't he?
Yeah, he's from Dathomir.
He's just a sub... they call the males something else, don't they? I can't remember the name.
Aren't they just Dathomirian warriors or something?
No, let's just check.
See, once again, I haven't quite got up to Savage in my Clone Wars rewatch, so
Yeah,
I
let
don't
me
know
check
what they
here.
call them. But also, just so everyone knows, I'm gonna call it Dathomiri instead because I prefer that, and also
Zabrak
can come fight me if they want. Oh, Zabrak!
Zabrak, yeah.
Isn't Zabrak a different race of aliens though?
No, he's a Dathomirian Zabrak, which I think is male. He's male, basically.
Yes, yeah, so Dathomirian Zabraks are Night Brothers, right? That's like their thing. They're Night Brothers. Then you have the Night Sisters, who are Dathomiri and Dathomiri.
They're just Dathomirian.
Dathomirians.
Yeah. I'm just looking at here. What's the difference? Dathomirians were a subspecies of Zabrak native to the planet Dathomir. Dathomirish...
Does that mean Night Sisters are also Zabraks? Because don't female Zabraks also have the horns?
Interesting. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway. So, let's get back to that again. Slip Away. When an allied Dathomirian or Separatist Alliance character targets an enemy character that is engaged with one or more characters in this unit with an attack, this unit may use this ability. So let me break that down again, Quinn. So when somebody else, when another allied, that's important, another means it can't be this character, targets an enemy character that is engaged with one or more characters in this unit. We'll come back to the word engaged in a second, because that is a very interesting word as well. This unit may use this ability. One character in this unit that is engaged with the targets, that basically means Asajj, may immediately do something.
Yeah.
And you have a little theory on this, Quinn, don't you, around it being a place of some sort?
Yeah. Interesting one, because it could be any number of things. We're not entirely sure. Obviously, we're not been told. But I could see it being a place yourself anywhere within melee range of the character that you're engaged with. Because it also appears in Ventress's combat tree. I think it appears in Anakin's combat tree.
We've seen it in quite a few now, haven't we?
Yeah. I could see it being a positioning thing. It feels like it's relating to positioning. That sort of compass style symbol to me evokes positioning. So I could see it being just placed within two of the character you're engaged with. And then you gain hunker, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, and the second part is hunker, which is obviously some...
Yeah, it's going to be some sort of cover defensive bonus.
Defensive, cover tech, add an extra die or count one block or whatever it is, yeah. What were you going to say?
I've done some digging on the internet, as I want to do, regarding the Night Sisters and the Night Brothers and the Zabraks and all that crap.
Okay.
So... apparently, there were Dathomirian humans at one point, and Zabrak colonists to Dathomir interbred with those humans, and from those
made a little baby Maul, basically.
you get what are effectively hybrids, but can't be hybrids because I assume they breed and therefore don't fit the definition of hybrids because hybrids, by definition, cannot produce offspring.
Yeah.
That's science for you. I did science at one point. I don't
Science, bitch.
But like, then that made what I'm going to refer to as Dathomirians as a whole, because they're the only real Dathomirians we see. And for some reason, in the male population, the Zabrak features are like far more, prominent. Whereas in the females of like the species, it's not as prominent. Star Wars is dumb. There we go.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. We didn't need George Lucas to make it any more dumb, did we? I want to just take us back, Quinn, if I can, to the word engaged. The word engaged. That one word filled me with more joy, maybe there was only one other word on this card that filled me with even more joy, and we'll get to that one in a second. But I absolutely love. We have this idea in this concept that characters are engaged. It's going to mean that you are within a certain distance, right? Anything from potentially touching base up to range 2 away, and maybe anywhere in between, right? I think, Quinn, this is for me where the shove thing potentially comes in. Is that, do you remember, you do remember even, but you played Battle for Middle-earth, right?
Yeah.
Not Battle for Middle-earth, Middle-earth battle strategy battle games.
I have also played
right?
Battle for Middle-earth. But
yeah, really good game. And they have a thing there, don't they? When a conflict resolves, the units are separated. They are pushed.
Yeah, they have to back back away or they're trapped, right?
Or shoved, if you will.
See, there's an interesting thing that we know about shove because of a little hiccup Dallas had on stream that I don't think was a hiccup.
I think it was about as much as a hiccup as all of the fake MCU reveals that Tom Holland's done over the years. Yeah. Do you want to fill people in of what that was, Quinn?
So basically, Dallas pushed someone in a game of MCP and then moved to have the model that pushed them follow them, which is not a thing in MCP. And was clearly like planted to give us information about Shatterpoint, let's be honest. So it seems like, when you shove people, you can follow them. So like, I think a shove is like you basically range one place. That's what I think it is. I imagine it'll be a way in some way, shape or form. Or maybe not. Maybe it's not even a way, but it'll be you place them within one. You may then place yourself within one. And, potentially, you don't have to follow them. You can actually shove them away and go back yourself. And that still works thematically in terms of what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
That's
but we do know that this... We do know, and we say no with an air of, 99%, but we do know that this little compass crosshair thing isn't a shove because we've seen the symbol for that is on the actual card itself. Sorry, on the tool itself, we've seen it on cards, and it's the sort of broken arrow with the lines in it, isn't it? Basically, yeah. So yeah. But for me, Quinn, I love the idea that whether it's range 2, whether it's base to base, range 1, whatever it is, but I love the idea that characters are engaged, right? They're engaged in combat. Something is happening and you have to deal with it. And I like that a lot. And I'm wondering if there is going to be... Is this disengage? If you're engaged, is that it? You are in combat. And you're in combat. You can't just go and do something else. And this is... I don't know. Maybe we'll talk about it afterwards. But I just had a thought then. I was like...
There is a little something I can add with regards to this and the whole sort of being engaged thing. So one, I think being engaged is probably going to interact with being targeted by ranged attacks in some way. It's harder to shoot someone when they're fighting your friend in very close quarters.
Yeah.
So, we might see, if you're engaged and get attacked by a ranged attack, you might get bonus defense dice. They might get, less attack dice, something of that sort. They did mention that Maul doesn't like people running away from him and has ways of punishing them for doing so.
Yeah.
Potentially that's something to do with being engaged. If you're engaged with Maul and you move out of engagement, then
he gets
Maul
to do something. Yeah.
Maybe he gets a free swing into you. Maybe he just does X amount of damage as you slip away. The really interesting thing and thematic thing for me with Ventress is, whenever Ventress is fighting and she's got a bit of backup, she's an opportunist, right? If some battle droids start shooting, she's going to use that distraction as a way to either get herself out of there or put herself into a more advantageous position against her opponent, right? And I really like that just as an idea and concept.
Yeah. Or this is focus.
Nah.
You don't think? I like the idea of the disengaged or something, but yeah.
I don't think there will be a symbol for focus, because focus seems to be a thing that you do and then immediately reap the benefits.
You do, and you immediately. It's not like
It's not like Hawkeye's trick shot where you can put it up and then it stays up for the rest until you shoot next, right?
Yeah, I was thinking of the Star Wars Legion one, where you stand by, and then there's the dodge tokens. There's the hit tokens, isn't there? And you keep them until you need to use them. Whereas, yeah,
I don't know. I don't play dead games.
Sith Assassin, then Quinn. When a character, yeah, and this is the flavour, isn't it? The way that they describe these is this is then you've got all the abilities, and some of them may be some of them may be the same, some of them may be different, but the identity is the real flavour of the character itself. And I think whilst you may get some crossover in what they do, they're going to be unique for each character. So when a character in this unit wounds an enemy unit, after the effect is resolved, that character may heal, right? So heal 3 wounds. Sorry, heal 3 damage, because wounds are different. If it wounded a primary or secondary unit, it may also move or jump. So we know that sort of triangle going into the arrow is the move, and then that's the jump. If it wounded a primary unit, refresh 2 Will of the Force. Now, we did speak about this, didn't we? About
going into an arrow is an interesting way to describe it.
It really is, isn't it? Yeah.
You mean like an arrow with a tapering end?
I mean, it's if you take them as 2 individual things, it's 2 triangles actually. But
it's an arrow with a tapering end.
Yeah. I mean, don't all arrows have tapering ends?
They have one tapering end. This one has 2.
I know. That was my point. But we did talk about this, Quentin, is that will there be ways to I don't want to call them turns, but mid-deck refresh your will?
You definitely don't call them turns, because turns are when people go.
Yeah, but mid-deck refresh your will, and the answer is yes. So I imagine we can see other abilities.
Refresh a will by just giving him a cherry Pepsi Max and just giving him a pat on the back. You're doing all right being head of AMG. Well done, you.
But I could imagine, a Yoda with a meditate or something like that as well. That's going to allow you to do this. Yeah. Maybe for an action or something like that. Because that seems like quite a big thing to get that back. But what she doesn't do is, do what Anakin does, which is move, mess with the struggle. Right?
I mean, you're still doing stuff with the struggle regardless whenever you wound someone, right? Because that's how you gain momentum. That is the main way we have seen to gain momentum. But yeah, Anakin, I've already kind of decided that Anakin's probably my guy.
I'm very much in the Asajj Ventress and Darth Maul camp, I think.
I'm not too fussed about Ahsoka. I prefer Padawan Ahsoka more. I imagine I'll probably be running something like Obi-Annie, maybe Annie Dooku, and going down that route. That could be fun. But yeah, Annie seems like my guy.
Yeah, absolutely. So she's then got 4 tags on the bottom of her card, or keyword. Are we calling them tags or keywords? So the first one.
These are tags.
These are tags. Yeah. So the first one, as we'd expect, Dathomirian. Second is Force Use. We've seen that before. Third, Separatist Alliance. I know it's not third. I'm missing out the third one. And then third, Quinn. What is it?
Night Sister.
I mean, we spoke about this before.
Damn box is coming.
We spoke about this before.
People don't know about the box.
We never did it, did we?
People don't know about the box because that video never came out.
The video never came out.
You got ill.
Yeah. So we did a video many moons ago about what boxes we're hoping for.
This was meant to come out between Christmas and New Year's, this video that we did, but it never saw the light of day.
It didn't.
And we both sort of came up with a box in each era that we wanted to see happen, right?
Yeah, and yours was very much around the Night Sisters, wasn't it?
Mine was Mother Talzin is primary, Savage Oppressor secondary, Night Sisters supports. Yeah. We have a Night Sister tag! It's happening!
You do? Yeah, so...
It's gonna happen. Like, I reckon first 6 months of the game, that box is gonna come out, and I'm gonna be so happy. I've just realised I get to do Dooku and Mother Talzin as a strike team. Hell yeah.
Team up. And you're going to have secondary Asajj in there as well.
Oh, you're going to have like Dooku with secondary Asajj, and then you're going to have Talzin with Savage.
Let's go through then, Quinn, because obviously each character gets multiple cards, or at least multiple sides of cards that they get to use. So we also get to see her stance cards. Front and back, because again these are going to be double-sided. We still yet don't know, do we? And this doesn't give us any indication in terms of how a character can change their stance. I think it's going to be either at the beginning of a deck refresh or when you pull that character's card from your deck.
I think it's going to be like at the start of the character's activation, you choose whether you want to change stance or not. I think that's going to be just the thing. Yeah. So she's got two, and as we sort of expect from these, you've got the Form 2 Makashi, which is whilst it does damage, I would say it's less damage focused. It gives her a little bit more. It's the more defensive of the two, right?
Yeah. I mean, she's not, she's never going to be a defensive character, but the fact that she's healing off the back of her attacks as well and that sort of thing.
I say it's the more defensive of the two. You know what I think would be a better way to describe this?
Go on.
I think it's the more consistent of the two.
Probably, yeah.
The reasoning for that being her attack expertise is better on this side than it is on the other side.
Yeah.
But we'll get into that when we get to it.
Yeah. So she's going to be rolling 7 melee, 5 defense against ranged, 6 defense against melee, Quinn, which is really nice.
I mean, that's the same as Anakin in his Shien form, right? But Anakin's 6'6" in that form defensively, so Ventress really doesn't like being shot at, which is fair.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah,
she's also going to have that riposte ability as well.
Yeah.
That she can do. And we can see here, Quinn, the first time that we've actually seen it fully, on both sides of a card, one of her trees is going to allow you to do an action or do an ability.
But both of her trees, but sure.
No, sorry, but each of the trees allow you to do one, right? Allow you to do. Yeah, but both can trigger it. And both need 4 successes
they do.
On there. We see the little crosshairs again. All the other symbols we know about. So we actually get the shove symbol on there as well. That's the little 3 broken line one with the arrow.
Yeah,
we've got some healing in there.
It's the non-tapered arrow that's broken. The tapered arrow that's broken is like the smaller move tool.
Yeah. But we do, Quinn, get a brand new symbol that we haven't seen before. And it's on her Jarkai side, and it's on the bottom there. And it looks like she's going to be dishing out 3 different conditions. And let's because we like to speculate a little bit. So the first one there that we can see, just to clarify, guys, this going up this tree here at the bottom.
Yeah, it's a teardrop shape, so clearly it makes them cry.
Yeah.
So, I believe she throws sand at Anakin and he remembers that he used to be a slave child.
I believe this is bleed, and I believe what bleed will do is stop your character from healing. I don't think they're just going to go, you take 1 extra damage at the end of your activation.
It's not enough with the health pools presented to us in Shatterpoint,
it's absolutely not. And you can see how much healing these Jedi or Force users are going to be able to do, even whilst they're attacking. Yeah. So I actually think that is probably.
And also, like, both of the identities we've seen so far have some form of, like, recover, right? Anakin lets everyone on the squad that's Galactic Republic recover once he, like, takes down a primary, I think it is. Ventress, if she wounds anyone, this includes supports, she's recovering for 3 herself. Go on.
I wanted to just remember, before I forget to mention it, we just spoke about those abilities that she gets to use during her attacks. It's really important to note that it also states that they are free.
Yeah, they don't.
What does that mean? They're not costing Will of the Force to be able to do them. So super efficient with what she can do.
I think
on top of everything else.
She's Force push used the majority of the time.
Yeah, because costing 2. And what's nice is that even if you're wounded, where things cost 1 more, I don't think this will cost anything, irrespective of when you've got it. So sorry, Quinn, what were you going to say there?
But just going back to like this recover 3 that she's got on Sith Assassin, and sort of in the similar vein, the recovers that Anakin allows people to do for free. I do wonder whether these sorts of recovers will allow you to use them on allies, because in the recover action. These are heal symbols.
These are heal. Yeah, these are heal. So I think
the recover action, but also you can just heal through this. When they told us what heal did in the recover action, they also mentioned that you could, instead of healing yourself,
let's pull this up here.
Heal an allied character within 2 of you. I do wonder if these sort of triggered heals can also be used on allies, because if so, that's really strong. And that
I'm just trying to find here
lends more credence to the notion that the devs never really saw primaries go down in testing. I still think I'm going to manage it. I'm going to manage it a lot.
Oh, absolutely.
It's an absolute beast. But it lends a bit more credence to that, I think.
Yeah, so I think if we look here, Quinn, you can't see my screen, but recover. Each character in a unit may heal. When a character heals, it may remove 1 condition or 1 damage from itself or another allied character within range 2 of it. I don't believe that the symbols we are seeing here are going to allow you to do that. I think it is going to be healing yourself only, because it's your combat tree. I think we could see recover symbols that are for other people potentially, maybe. But yeah, I don't think that's, at least that's my take on it. But I think that's bleed, Quinn. I think it's going to stop you from healing. Have you got any other thoughts in terms of what it could be and what it could do, or are you pretty much in agreement?
So like the thing for me with bleed being you can't heal is, I don't think it can be you can't heal. I think it will be you can't remove damage, because those are different things in this game, as we've just gone through. Heal is remove damage or remove a condition. If it stopped you healing, then it's insanely powerful, right?
But yeah, you get my point, right? It's gonna.
You can't remove damage whilst you have this up. I don't know how important that's gonna be, because in effect, it's gonna be you can't heal 1 damage because you just use. You can't remove 1 damage because you just use that heal you would have used to remove the damage to remove the bleed, right? I don't know how impactful that's going to be, right?
Well, I think it could be impactful, because when you get into these characters, it's going to force them to use an action to remove it. Otherwise, they let's say it's Asajj, for example, and we're on her Form 2 Makashi, and she's healing potentially 3 in a single roll.
4 if she goes top end.
And
by top end, I mean bottom rank.
4 if you go on the bottom side. Yeah, I didn't see the first one there, so I think it could be impactful. I think it's a decision.
What are you envisaging it to interact with those four, though? Like, how are you viewing that as working? Because that, in my mind, doesn't change the statement I made in terms of it just wasting one of those four.
No. I think it's going to stop you from being able to benefit from any of them whilst you've got it.
But it's that ability that lets you remove conditions.
No. I don't think that is.
Oh, do you think that symbol is literally just heal damage, not remove
I think
conditions?
that symbol is heal damage. Yeah, I think see because it's different, right? Because it says recover. Each character in the unit may heal. When a character heals, it may remove one condition or one damage. I think that is remove one damage because it is the damage symbol. Anyway, we digress. But what I do hope is that conditions are impactful enough in this game whereby you really have to work out whether or not it is worth getting rid of them or not.
Because also I think you want it to be a worthy trade-off between like this bottom branch we've seen on Ventress and the top branch where she does extra damage, right?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. So let's move on to the second one. We've seen this before. We saw it on Ahsoka's card, didn't we? Yeah. Which is the broken ranged weapon. This for me, it's going to be we call it like disarm, something like that. I think it's going to be not taking their weapon off them completely, but a reduction in die that you have, or something along those lines.
I could also see it being like, a condition that whilst you have this condition, you can't use ranged attack.
Yeah, maybe.
I could view that being a thing, like, because you're still going to be able to remove it through various means. Like, Ahsoka puts that on, like, your Bo-Katan, and then Anakin goes and just stabs Ahsoka in the face. Well, not your Bo-Katan, does it to your Rex. And then Anakin stabs her in the face, wounds her, and does the thing where people heal. It might not, you're going to have ways of getting around this, I think, that symbol does, in fact, allow you to remove conditions, which I'm hoping it will. I could see it going either way, but,
I don't think it's...
My instinct says you can, yours says you can't, right?
No, I think it's
just
pure...
a point of difference between two.
Yeah, for me, I think that's pure damage. Pure damage, healing back from that. And then we've got the last symbol here, Quinn, which we're assuming is another condition.
Metal Gear!
Because that feels like... Yeah, it feels like it's... All I can think of when I see this symbol is Epic NPC Man, though, from Viva La Dirt League. That's a problem. You never watched it, have you? A great day for fishing, ain't it? If you've seen it, leave me a like in the comment section.
Don't encourage you.
You came up with a really good idea with this one, Quinn, so I'm going to give you this one. What's your thoughts on what this is?
Well, first of all, I'm going to make a request to editing, Rich.
Okay.
I want the Metal Gear sound effect in this segment.
I'll potentially put it in.
So I think that this symbol or condition or whatever you want to call it is going to be the equivalent to stagger in MCP.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't play MCP and may have become a refugee from certain dead games, I'm driving people away, but I enjoy it. Stagger in MCP effectively is a condition that you are forced to remove as the first thing you do. The first action you make, rather. You can do other things that timing-wise happen beforehand. So potentially, if you've got no way around it, this removes one of your actions for that activation on the given character, right? So, potentially cut someone's efficacy in half, or roughly in half. Obviously, they can still do other things that aren't actions. But I think it could be that. And then, obviously, it's a powerful effect. It's the best condition in MCP. I don't think that is, really something you can argue against, right, Rich? Stagger is objectively the best one.
It is the only condition in the game that a character is forced to remove before they make or take any actions. So, yeah, objectively, it is the best. It halves a character or most characters' efficiency. And when that's a big character, it can really hurt.
Yeah, so the way I see it working Shatterpoint, and obviously this is only on Ventress's third result for Jarkai, and she's rolling 8 dice. So pretty reasonable that she gets it off. Staggered MCP tends to be a little bit rarer. But because of the way recovery works, and the fact that you can heal allies within 2 of you instead of yourself when you use the recover action, and you can use that to remove conditions, there are more ways around it in Shatterpoint than there are in MCP. And for an MCP allegory, everyone is Wong.
Everyone's a Wongers. I agree. I really like this. I think, there's a reason they're called support characters, right? They're there to support. That doesn't always necessarily mean attacking. It can be for other things as well. And it does state here that debilitating conditions on the defender is what she is going to be doing, whereas the other one is focused more on actually pushing them off points and things with those shoves. So, yeah. I want to go down to her aggressive defense, Quinn, because we have an question answered. And
you have an answer.
And I was right. I was right. Look, if you throw enough shit, some of it'll stick, Quinn.
I mean, look, I didn't want to say it, but you want to tally how many predictions we both have, right?
So what are we talking about? Well, you can see there's these orange symbols on her card with a little arrow button. And what these are basically turning crits.
Arrow button?
Arrow buttons, yeah. Turning crits into hits. Quinn, you thought they were going to be all of them. I thought it was just one. It's shown now it's just one, but she also has a very, very interesting one, which if you look at, she gets 4 expertise or more on her defense roll. She's going to be able to turn not only a crit into a hit, she'll then be able to... It's strike, sorry. She will then be able to turn a strike into a failure. Now, why is the failure really important? Riposte. So guaranteeing her that riposte, which I really, really like this. Really it's just a really, really cool, well thought out ability. Quinn, it's hard to say, isn't it? Let's just jump back to the two of us here. It's hard to say, right? Is Asajj good? She's the best dark force wielder we've seen all of the cards for so far.
I mean, Anakin's been shown. He ends up pretty fucking dark.
He does end up pretty dark, yes. A dark lord.
I don't remember Ventress murdering like a room full of children at any point.
The women and the children too.
Oh wait, no, he does it on 2 separate occasions.
He just two separate occasions. But it's hard to say. But what I will say is, Quinn, is that the difference between this and what we saw from Maul's card and what we've seen from Ahsoka's card and what we've seen from Anakin's card as well, they feel very different.
They've got some proper identity to them, which is what we wanted, right?
Yeah, they feel on point.
There is... And... Go on.
I was just going to say, and overall, every set of these I see, I'm just getting more and more hyped for the game. I'm really wanting to see some support stuff. And I know it sounds daft, it sounds like it's boring, but I want to see, what does 4 support
I want to see
like?
some non-primary stuff now. That's what I'm after. I mean, obviously, love to see more. Ahsoka's cool. I'm not a big fan of Jedi No More Ahsoka. I prefer Nips, right?
Yeah,
Ahsoka
that's fair enough.
Had one. That's just more Ahsoka to me. So would you like one last bit of baseless speculation before we sign off?
Why the hell not, Quinn?
So, these expertise tables.
Yeah.
They go pretty high in terms of the number of expertise you've rolled, right?
They do indeed, yes.
Sort of weirdly high based on averages, right?
Do you think there's going to be a double on one of the die?
No.
Okay.
Mainly because we know that
they have confirmed. They have confirmed the symbols. Yeah, they've confirmed the symbols.
So Kalani's a 5, right?
Is he going to boost?
Is Kalani just going to have an aura that's just like, every roll within 2 or 3 of me, get an extra expertise? Because, he's a tactical droid, right? He's a super tactical droid.
I could easily see that. Easily see that.
Here's the other thing. So obviously, we know we're getting Kraken as well, right?
We've seen 2 super tactical droids, and they are the 2 most famous. Let's put it there.
They are painted as those 2.
I know.
So I'm going with them being those 2, because otherwise it's dumb. So Kalani is the more like sort of defensive, cautious of the 2, right? And Kalani is like super aggressive. He gut punches Anakin at one point. It's great.
So Kraken is the more aggressive one. Yeah, you said Kalani twice.
Oh, sorry,
so just yeah.
So Kalani's the sort of defensive, like cautious one. Kraken likes to beat the shit out of things. It's great. Right? So I think maybe we could see as like a sort of bit of. Not quite symmetry, but them running parallel to each other. They're both super tactical droids. Maybe Kalani has a thing where defense rolls within certain range of him get an extra expertise result. Kalani attack rolls within certain range of him get an extra
in the middle.
And they are both just like they're just buff bots.
You want a Venn diagram of super tactical droids where you're just in the middle, and you're getting the benefits from both. I like it. Look, I mean, there's so much they can do with this game.
Also, one other thing that I wanted to get your opinion on.
Okay.
Do you think, because we've not seen anything regarding it whatsoever currently, do you think this game is actually ever going to involve rerolls?
It's a really good shout because
add X results and that's your dice modification, or is it going to be count this result as this result? Is there ever going to be a thing that's like pick up these dice and roll them again?
I could see them not going down that route.
I'd kind of prefer that, honestly.
I think it adds a level of complexity in there. I already think there's already enough complexity with the combat stances and the trees, and the fact that the dice you're rolling don't necessarily directly correlate. They do, but kind of in a different way to the amount of damage that you're doing. But it's not a case of 3 successes minus 1 equals 2 damage. It's 3 successes allow me to do, move along this, and then I'm adding it up and everything else. So I think there's enough there that or maybe there is, and maybe they're very, very sparse.
And maybe here's another reason why I would like rerolls to maybe not be as much of a thing in Shatterpoint as they are on MCP.
Yeah.
Rerolls take up a lot of fucking time.
They do. Yeah, they do. They want it.
You've got to move your dice out of the way. You've got to do the thing. You've got to be like, oh, do I want to spend for these rerolls? Do I want to spend for these rerolls? Just not having them and being like, fuck it, you can have... You're within range of Kraken. You get an extra pierce or crit or whatever we're calling crits, I think.
Criticals, yeah. I think it's interesting. We haven't seen them mentioned, and you would expect on these big characters, these assassins, that they will have them. If they were in the game, they would have them. So I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no. I think...
Good. We're in agreement.
But for once... we may see them in the future.
But, I thought that was an interesting point to bring up, because it's not something I've seen discussed anywhere. It's just something that occurred to me when thinking about the super tax and how they might justify their costs.
Rerolls are not good anyway. It's...
Random chance, right?
Yeah, and you end up, like you say, you put them to one side, and then you roll them, and then you roll them too hard, and you knock them, and then you go, oh, I promise you that was a hit, and it knocks into a failure, so I'm moving. It's just, it's messy. So yeah, who knows? Who knows? But yeah, guys, that is
I can tell you at least 2 people who know.
Is it Will and Will?
It's the Force of the Wills.
Force of the Wills, yeah, as they are now known collectively. Guys, we're going to leave it there. Quick reminder that we are giving away a Shatterpoint core set. We'll be doing the draw for that at the beginning of May. If you want to be with a chance to win that, you need to make sure that you have left a like on this video. You also need to leave a comment. For this video, let us know. Let us know, because we mentioned it, what box are you most looking forward to that hasn't already been announced? So let us know down in the comment section below what you're looking forward to on that one. Guys, if you haven't already, go check out the Discord. It's completely free to join. And there is now a dedicated Shatterpoint section in there. We've got other content creators in there. We've even got members from AMG who are in there as well. Plus the rules gurus who may or may not be looking after Shatterpoint as well. I don't know yet. So yeah, go check that out. Giveaway done, that done, Discord done. I think that's it. Guys, if you could leave a like, it really, really does help. If you want to support us even further, you can support us on Patreon, where from as little as £1 a month, you can help support the channel and help us do all the things that we do in the giveaways and everything else. But until next time, it leaves me with just enough time to say stay well, keep safe, and may the Force be with you.
Dathomirian breeding is confusing. Bye.